Alright everyone, it's that time again. It's time for another DC Marvel crossover. This time we're talking Batman v Superman. Your regulars are here. Me, Phil, Charlie, Lilith, and it's full house because we got our Superman expert Tyler here.
Sweet.
And Chris.
That's a big title.
Hey.
Alright. I know you people are chomping at the bit. Let's go.
Okay. So I want to. Can I make
structure?
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's keep the structure. Let's let Charlie go first, and then we'll just kind of,
okay.
everyone kind of say their thoughts first.
So let me. So first off, as I'm thinking like the official Marvel guy here, I gotta say, first off, not that bad a film. I've seen far worse films in my day. This was my assessment of this. It is better than Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's worse than Superman 3.
What?
What?
So let me explain. Let me explain what I mean by that. What I mean by that is it's better than some really bad superhero films, but it's not as good as that bad superhero film that you defend in your mind that everyone tells you was awful, but you say, no, it wasn't that bad. It's not as good as that one that you really like secretly, but it's not as but it's better than the really bad ones.
I want to know who's defending Superman 3.
Charlie Esser.
I love Superman 3. That is the best Superman film ever made. That's all there is to it. We're not going to have that discussion right now.
All right, that's another podcast.
But everything you like about Superman is established in Superman 3. Everything that you think is cool and good about Superman, it's all in Superman 3, and
but
that's okay. We're not.
Okay, you want to know something? You know how big of a Superman fan I am, right, Phil?
Yes.
Okay. It took me. Okay, ready? It took me until 2013 to actually watch Superman 3 because I knew how bad it was.
It's a great buddy comedy.
And the only reason Superman 4 before then, because I watched it as a kid on TV with my grandfather.
Oh.
Anyway.
But everyone has their opinion, and it's okay. I respect it, Charlie. I respect it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay, and I understand that I am in the vast minority on my love of Superman 3. I still say Gus Gorman could be DC's next greatest supervillain if they would bring him into the books. But
I love the buzzing in the background.
Yes.
All right. Hold on. I've been waiting a while for this. Lilith, I need to hear your thoughts on this movie. You've been keeping quiet for weeks now.
Yeah, like 6 weeks, I think it is now. I saw it without the special effects, and then I saw it with the special effects before most people too. I have so many conflicting feelings about it. It's like I kind of think that it feels like Snyder wanted to make a Batman movie, but they're like, hey, remember that thing you messed up in Man of Steel? Basically make a reaction video to that. And that's pretty much what we got. Sour, no hope, just not what you want.
I think...
Well, no...
Sorry. I think I'm more in the Tyler camp. I enjoyed the movie. There's just a bunch of little things I didn't like, just like little things that stood out to me, like when Martha Kent was like telling Clark, "You don't owe this planet anything." I'm like, what? Aren't you supposed to be like the inspiration? And like, I'm sorry, it was taking me out of the story. Jesse Eisenberg, I'm just like, okay, so they're fighting.
We're hopeless, no joy.
They're fighting a 12-year-old. He just seems so young, especially when he was eating the candy. I'm just like, okay, they're fighting a 12-year-old.
Well, see, and although as I
was like, the more I watch it, the more I like these things. It was just different. It was weird.
I like the last half an hour of his Lex, but the first half hour of the film, I'm like, I agree with you. It feels very youthful. It feels less dignified. It doesn't seem. He seems like a millennial Lex Luthor.
That's what he's supposed to be.
I know, but I hate that.
Hey, he gives millennials a bad name.
I just think they gave themselves an out because he mentioned his father, Lex Luthor Sr. So if people don't like Eisenberg, they're like, oh no, the real Lex is the dad. Yeah, let's bring him in next movie.
But hey, I think we can all agree there's a beautiful moment that this entire Lex Luthor sequence does not base itself around real estate. Yeah.
Nice.
Although one could argue that was actually kind of the selling point of Lex Luthor.
Hey, I'm not going to try to buy a property and screw the world over. I'm just going to screw the world over.
No, that was Daredevil this season.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's what I want to say, and here's the thing that I want to say about this film. I get the feeling that because I'm not a big DC fan, I probably liked it more than if I were a DC fan, because I know that there's a lot of, because basically my look at this is like, oh, that's a version of Batman and Superman. It's not necessarily my version of Batman and Superman that I would do, but it's a version. I can see how you do this. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I got to give the creators of this movie credit for, they really, if you are an obsessive nerd like I am, they really did cover all of their bases so that any complaint you want to have, they actually have little show don't tell bits to give it to you. And one of the things that I thought that is the most radical shift in any depiction of Batman that this one had, and why they had to show the death of his parents again, was because they radically changed the death of Batman's parents. Because if you watch, when the guy pulls the gun on Old Man Wayne, just before he's shot, he makes a fist. Because
it's not self-defense, but
that's been in the comics and in the cartoons. We've seen
that he made a fist, that he tried to fight the guy who had a gun on him, that he's that stupid, that the billionaire with maybe $5,000, let's say, in his wallet, says, "Hey, you pull a gun on me? Put up your dukes, mister." So then that's just normal. Then that Bruce Wayne. I always thought Bruce Wayne's father was supposed to be the calming influences in his life. I guess that's just the versions I've seen. Now I guess it's just no. His father was a hot-headed psychopath, just like baby Bruce grew up to be. Because to me that was like, oh man, he made a fist. He's going to fight a guy who pulled a gun on him.
I thought you were going to go with the fact that Martha got straight up splatted all over the street, up close and personal. I thought that's where you were going at.
No. Well, this is in many ways sort of Quentin Tarantino's Batman. And if you go from the idea that Quentin Tarantino's movies all take place in an alternate universe where violence is sort of the raison d'etre of every person in that world, that everything is solved through violence, that this is sort of, if Batman existed in that world, and that was like the first thing I saw when and I don't remember his father's name, if it's Jonathan Wayne or
Thomas.
Fred Wayne or what, Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne when he...
Fred.
Yeah, their parents had the exact same names. When Jonathan Wayne made the fist, it was like that. I have never seen that before. That Jonathan Wayne, instead of trying to like calm the situation down like a rational human being, just decides to fight. And like I said, the guy already has the gun out. It's not like a guy like flashes the gun and he tries to stand his ground. A guy pulls a gun on him. He says, "Okay, I'm ready for you."
What I find interesting, though, is like, so I hear what you're saying with the fist and the getting ready to defend, but the guy who's supposed to be robbing them is like 7 feet away, and before Dad Wayne even gets a swing in, is like, "Oh, I'm shooting this mother right here." Like, really? Yeah, like that seems a bit rash. Yeah,
well, but then again,
it almost feels like the guy was there not to rob him, but kill him anyway.
Which is in some stories where they hired this guy just to kill the Waynes, not rob them. There's, but here's my thing: you were talking about, do we really need to see the Waynes' death again? Yes, and I'll tell you why. And I'll quote Stan Lee, and I look at it this way: every Batman is someone's first Batman, and you might kind of know the story. But this might be your first introduction of the character, and you need that backstory. Do I need an origin film? No. Do I need 20 minutes? No.
I wish they would have done it this way in Man of Steel and gotten to the story.
Yeah, I talked about how I didn't really need to see, like, I would have preferred Krypton and flashbacks, or held off till the second film and not opened on Krypton and everything. But my thing was, we needed kind of that little bit of origin for if, somebody's watching this for the first time. But I don't need a whole film about it.
I don't think anybody needed the origin. I think it was just in there so, when Superman said Martha.
Exactly.
And that's part of it.
Oh, man. Can we please talk about that for even just a half a second?
Okay. Just to warn everybody, spoilers. Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, see, I don't have a problem with it ending like that.
But really?
Because basically, if you really look at it, Batman was basically in a rage and in a trance. And he put it in perspective because the last words of his dying father was Martha. And the last words of if he killed Superman would have been Martha.
Yeah.
And it froze him.
I guess I have to see this 3 times before I get it, because really, I laughed out loud.
Like some of them.
On the words, Martha, what's this, my mom?
Because if you look the whole time, he has the nightmare about being at his mom's grave.
Yeah.
He has the reference to his mom again. And it's just, like I said, I've seen it multiple times and I pick up on stuff because there's so much coming at you. Yeah. There's so much going on.
And to that extent, can we talk about how many dream sequences there were in this?
They weren't dream sequences.
Yeah, they're shades of. Or was he like seeing the future?
Those were in a mix of the Dark Side War. That's what we're doing for Justice.
Because
we saw parademons and so that was scruffy Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, they were visions.
And to that extent, we didn't need that. And I'm going to say this right now. This film would have been 1,000 times better if they had called it Trinity Dawn of Justice and gave us way more Wonder Woman backstory and cut all of these freaking setting up the next sets than this. I think that would have been a much better film.
The nightmare scene the nightmare scene could have started, I think, almost as a post-credit scene or something. It just feels awkward the way it's done in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because what exactly is it showing us? Is it supposed to be this is the world now after Superman comes back? Spoilers. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what does it tell us? And then I love how many people did not recognize that was supposed to be the Flash.
Yeah, because he had a ponytail and a freaking porn stash.
We were discussing this, and Tyler and I were discussing this before we started recording. Honestly, and it may have just been we were at a terrible angle at the IMAX screening that we saw, but when I saw it, it was so blurred with the time portal behind him. I thought it was Cyborg.
Yeah, and none of that. Why does Aquaman and the Flash both have like shaggy facial hair now?
Well, I mean, versions of Aquaman
I can complain about Ezra Miller, but you can't say nothing bad about Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, but I know it's confusing enough with a TV Flash, and now But Barry Allen never had facial hair, so now all of a sudden they're going to do that,
or a ponytail.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture they released of Ezra Miller at the premiere of BVS?
He looks better.
Where he's like bulked up, his hair's cut, and he's all clean shaven. I'm like, you couldn't have tweaked his look just enough in this cameo. Like, I feel like they were like, oh crap, we gotta Ezra, you look like crap. Just get over here. Shoot with the hand camera. All right, we'll throw it in. It won't matter.
Yeah.
Now,
but that's the thing is they didn't need to do all that. They didn't need to have all of this extra stuff for this first film. It's like when they
because they're playing catch up, but they didn't need it as a narrative, but they needed it as a corporation.
Yeah, Lilith's right. I think that's exactly what they were doing. Is they're saying, okay, you guys like Marvel? Guess what? We're building our own universe. There's more stuff coming. Yeah,
but the thing is, we knew that.
Well,
it's like, so let me give you an example. When he opens up the file and you see the 4 logos, because apparently Lex Luthor very big on Photoshop and made sure he had all the proper logos for everybody up.
He was going to start his own Justice League. That's what he was going to do.
I know, but the whole thing is that once we saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Wonder Woman, that's the Flash. Yeah, we knew that. We then didn't have to click on each file and say, and here's a video of the Flash, and don't even get me started on the Cyborg video, because that was like everything that you could possibly do wrong with Cyborg, they did. And it's like, oh, DC, no.
I don't think you get anything right with Cyborg, but that's just me.
But my thing is, the problem is we have to remember, we're talking because we know things.
Yeah.
We understand. There's people I was set with in the theater who had no idea about what was coming, who some of these characters were. It's like it sucks because we have to be told and shown this stuff.
Yeah,
but we understand this and know what's coming.
That's what I was going to say. I work with people like
they're
that.
Not going to care. That's the thing is they're not. So you can throw up a logo, and then if someone gets into it, they're going to find it out later. Mm-hmm. Let me give you an example. In I think it was the second Iron Man film. There's a flash on when you're at the big expo. You see the Oracle building. And that got a lot of people talking about the Submariner because, of course, the Submariner's company is Oracle. Now, that was actually just a product placement by the actual company Oracle. But, people that want to look for things, or like if they see the Roxxon gas station, most people aren't going to care. It's just a Roxxon there, but people that know will know what it is. And then when it comes up later, people go, oh, yeah, and that ties back. What DC did was basically said, they started giving you that little thing, and they said, "Oh wait, you're too. We better spoon feed this to you."
Yeah, that's what DC.
I don't know. There was so much flop sweat on it. That's basically what it's like. Hey, let me tell you a great joke. This why'd the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? You see, because it's funny because you expect it to be something bigger than just getting to the other side. Yeah, you get it. You know what? It's funny. Do you understand why it's funny? And it's like, no, it's not that funny. And by over-explaining it, you make it even less funny,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing you have to remember, though, is when it comes to this situation with the production company, because we're not going to see a Justice League film until 2017.
Next year.
Yeah, I know. It's next year. But because, how long have we been waiting for BVS? 3 years we talked about?
Yeah, that's the thing. They were like, 3 years
with these actors, most of the time they're being contracted so far out. But if they're not put in a film that connects that contract to the next film, a lot of the time they can get out of it. So let's look at this from like a production standpoint. Let's say BVS didn't go with. We already have Jason Momoa, who's going to be a killer Aquaman lined up, and then the next thing you know, he's not in BVS, and he sees that people don't like it, and then he quits. Now we're in the process of having to find a brand new Aquaman. So a lot of the times production companies are like, yeah, it's a little bit of spoon feeding. I'll agree with you. But a lot of times they're like, we got to drop these guys in, or else we may lose them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that, but in that case, if they're going to go through that trouble, then they ought to do something better than what they did with it. Because, I mean, Aquaman in particular, it was just, I mean, I don't know. I guess I would have rather seen Aquaman doing something.
It was nice to say he can swim fast.
Yeah. You know what it is? Here was the thing with me with that is I would have rather seen Arthur Curry in some sort of side thing. Maybe even at that event with the library or something. Just have Arthur Curry somehow in the story in another way than just. And basically, what I'll say is it's like, oh, what are the two things that people make jokes about? Like, oh, the only things Aquaman can do is breathe underwater and swim fast. And of course, Aquaman can do a lot more than that, and is a way better character than just breathe underwater and swim fast. But what do they give us? He breathes underwater and he swims fast,
Yeah, but wait till he talks to fish.
Well, yeah, hey, man. Speaking to aquatic life form is actually one of the most amazing powers there are. When you consider that 90% of the water of the planet is covered by water, and 90% of your body is covered by water, and in Super Friends, he can speak to aquatic microbes, which means he can actually control your body. I would love to see someone do that one day in the comic book. Just have him just start doing mind control on you. He says, "No, well, all of the aquatic life forms throughout inside your digestive system actually control your brain, and now I'm just making you do whatever I want." You can do crazy things with Aquaman if you really want to push it. That whole controls creatures of the aquatic creatures includes a lot more than you think.
Can we talk about Jeremy Irons as Alfred?
Sure.
That was a highlight for me. I like this unrefined, unpolished Alfred.
I didn't know Alfred was a mechanic and he can fly planes.
He's everything. Alfred has always been everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more of an adaptation of the comics. Than it is. It's not like continuing from the other films. It's actually an adaptation of the character in the comics and more of the current comics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not just giving people what they're used to seeing.
I still my favorite Alfred, but Jeremy Irons is like number 2 right now.
I was really happy to see that this Alfred wasn't like, oh, Master Wayne, please don't do all these things that you're going to do anyway. He's like, oh yeah, you're probably going to die, but I'm old too, so it's fine.
Like, of course, remember at this point, this is 30 years in for Alfred, so he's pretty exhausted by all this at this point. Oh, and can we actually just touch on what I have to say is the weirdest thing in this entire film? That when Bruce Wayne wakes up at his house before the whole charity event, there's a woman in his bed that never gets mentioned.
Well,
apparently,
Bruce Wayne's got to get some.
Well, I guess that yes, Bruce Wayne. I don't know if this was a call girl, if this was Vicky Vale stopping over for the night.
You're thinking too far into this, man. Ben Affleck really played both sides of Batman, which we haven't seen yet. He really plays the Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy, the guy who does pick up women. He does hit on women. He gets what he's got to get. But at the same time, he's still playing this character of Batman. So, I mean, you have to look at him as more duality than anything else.
It's his form of meditation.
Yes.
No!
This is also,
focus on it.
We also have a Batman who's broken, who's struggled, who's not completely with it. He's not at his peak that he was. Yeah. We know that something happened and basically broke him.
Well, we see the suit, guys. We all saw the suit. The joke's on you. That's what broke him.
Yes. Yeah, nice to know that he keeps Jason Todd's bloody uniform on display in his Batcave. I kind of felt that was kind of weird. Just
psychotic. What do you want from him?
I don't know. It's kind of like keeping a picture of a loved one after they pass.
No. It's kind of like keeping the body of a loved one after they passed. It's not like, oh, that was Jason Todd. It's not like it's the Jason Todd Memorial. It's, this is my greatest defeat, and I must never forget how I let Jason Todd down. It's just... It was, again, this is what I got to say about this film. There is enough to hate about this film that it's very easy to hate this film. I didn't hate this film. I liked a lot of this film, but there are so many little things, little choices that they made that really make you go, why would they make that choice?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, do.
It's because of Zack Snyder. I'm like, dude, it's not 300 and it's not The Watchmen. Let it go, Zack. You already disappointed us with Sucker Punch and a couple of other movies. You needed to stick this landing and you didn't. You gotta let go of your aesthetic, your sourdough aesthetic. It is killing your career, bro. You're not gonna get the Fountainhead with this, okay? This is a no. I just don't understand it. Snyder needed to be off this movie. That's all. Like, his aesthetic just did not work for this movie.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I'm going to say that this movie was very much his aesthetic. I don't think that with this script, I think that's, like I said, this is the Batman versus Superman he wanted to make. It's like if you did a different Batman versus, well, first off, if you did a Batman and Superman film, that actually seems a lot more practical. At this stage in the game, like I said, I don't know what DC really is expecting to make out of all of this. But
there's the cash button, Phil.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's it. They have no artistic integrity in the movie universe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, for anyone who can tell me, the thing that makes Cyborg was that just some random Kryptonian tech that
was Mother Box, wasn't it?
It was an apocalyptic Mother Box.
Yeah. Ooh, Boom Tube's coming up too! Yay!
Where did he get one of those? First off, A, where did he get that from? And B,
Silas is also the guy that created Skynet, so don't ask questions.
Okay.
Don't worry, they'll give us the whole origins in this Cyborg movie.
Yeah, like he's really gonna get one. You mean Justice League Part 3?
Yeah.
And actually, I would like to. Okay, I want to make this statement about Cyborg. Okay, one of the worst things in my mind is how DC is pressing Cyborg as their black superhero. Because to me, the fact that Cyborg is A, a robot, and B, a eunuch, which they emphasized in this film, that he has like no lower body. It to me, it's just psychologically, this is a safe black man that you can accept as a superhero because we've got computer chips controlling him and there's nothing going on below the belt. And I know later versions of Cyborg they've adapted that so he does have a humanoid body, but it's like, to me it was just like, this is like the grossest way to make an African-American superhero. It's like, this is not going to be your Black Panther if this is where you're starting from.
You do know Jon Stewart's black, right?
Yes, but Jon Stewart is who they're pressing as their marquee African-American superhero. The marquee African-American superhero they are pushing is Cyborg. Cyborg is the guy who's being brought up from Teen Titans to the Justice League. Cyborg is the guy getting a movie, not Jon Stewart. Yes, I know Jon Stewart should be their African-American superhero they're putting front and center. They have actually a great stable of African-American superheroes they could push forward to be their... Heck, even Mr. Terrific makes a better African-American superhero, in my mind, than in many ways Cyborg does. But Cyborg, of course, is really popular because of Teen Titans, because of Teen Titans Go, because of a wide range of things where people really love the character of Cyborg. But then you have to do his story right and not make him a robotic mind-controlled eunuch. You know, if you really want to have him be an African-American man, then have him be an African-American man who has these robotic enhancements, sort of like what they did in Smallville. Well, yeah, he's, he is a completely normal human being, except he has all these cybernetic, he's like the bionic man. And if you want to have stuff flip out and, as they've done where he can have the skin self or the robotic self, that's fine too. But when you open it up with, here's 1/4 left of a human being, and that's going to be our superhero. To the extent that you're not even sure if he's alive in that scene. I really think it just really struck me as really a gross way to present this character. And when you think that they didn't have to do it that way, they could have just opened it up with Cyborg, in the suit, with the armor, and working on, being all Deathlock, as it were, that could have worked just as easily, but they didn't do it that way. They had to show that there was barely any human left, and this is what's going to make our African-American superhero.
Well, I think that might be a plot point to Cyborg, though, with that whole, is he more machine than man, maybe.
Well, literally now we know he is more machine than man. Whatever man is left, it's all machine, because we've seen how much man was left. That's kind of my point. It's like, when you look at Cyborg, you don't know really how much of that is robot and how much of that is human. As much as he may make comment in Teen Titans Go about how he misses having skin on his knees. There is a human being inside of that robotic suit, but in this we know no, there's not. And to me, like I said, that Shaggy, and that was the thing. It's like the introductions in those scenes, they just weren't good. They weren't good ways to introduce any of these characters. The only one that was actually good to introduce that way was Diana Prince. Diana Prince, when you get that 1918 photograph, I applauded in the theater. I said, yes, this was great. And I thought that was the only thing we were going to get. We saw that there were others, but Diana Prince was what was important. And we got her. We get this little backstory origin. I loved her line about how men are raised to not know how to share, because that's a very Wonder Woman kind of feministy, Amazonian thing to say. And that was cool. But then they would put in all these other things, and it just took away. it was time that could have been better spent on the story. Oh, and by the way, just with twitchy Jesse Eisenberg Lex, I guarantee you by the time you get to Justice League, the movie, it's going to be revealed that he was under the influence of Darkseid. And that's why he was so twitchy. Because, Grandma Goodness went and mind zapped him or something. I don't know.
I don't know. They could just play a straight up crazy Lex and I'd be happy. But I'm just not happy with Jesse Eisenberg's performance. Everybody kept praising him. I'm like, am I watching the same movie? I don't think I am.
Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like about the movie was Jesse Eisenberg. He kept taking me out of it.
Right.
Yeah. See, I liked him.
Oh, you didn't like Grandma's peach tea?
Oh, you're threatening a sitting U.S. senator with your pee? Real? Oh.
Well, here's my thing. I don't think it was really pee. I think
that was straight.
Oh,
pee,
that was straight up urine, bro.
Okay. Now that we're on that scene, let's talk about this. Okay. First off, Lex murders Mercy. So Mercy's not really anything now. Two. Superman, and this is the thing that really strikes me about this film. I'm not using Superman and Batman so completely incompetent, and that's what this film was. It was the adventures of incompetent Superman and not very good Batman, because it's like Batman is just totally being played by Lex, is totally out of his element, isn't a good detective in any stretch of the imagination. And Superman is just, what? Huh? Oh, there was a bomb there? And it's like, for a guy with super speed and super senses to get played so badly in that scene, it's like, okay, that's not how Superman's supposed to be. That's not how Batman is supposed to be. Batman is supposed to be playing three-dimensional chess and is always one step ahead of everyone. But here, no, he's completely flat-footed. And Lex Luthor even mentions how stupid Bruce Wayne is. It's like, you would think it would have been hard to manipulate him, but nope, it was real easy. I just had to do a couple of quick things, send him a couple letters, you killed your family, and that's it. And the guy was off his rocker. To have Lex Luthor bragging about how easy it was to manipulate Superman and Batman in the first film in this new franchise concept, because I know this is officially a sequel to Man of Steel, but in a lot of ways it kind of seems like a sequel to Man of Steel in the same way the Incredible Hulk is a sequel to the Hulk. It's like,
there's a prequel is what it is, and not much of anything else.
Well, like not the least of which, wasn't it Jonathan Kent who was like, you can't show who you are, you got to hide who you are, and now they're saying, no, Superman was my dad's idea. Jonathan Kent wanted me to be Superman. It's like, well, yes, traditionally, but I thought in the last movie it was the exact opposite.
You literally died so you wouldn't do anything to out yourself.
Yeah, wasn't that supposed to be it seemed like, and I've never seen Man of Steel, so maybe I'm mistaken.
No, you're not.
But that was sort of what I thought the whole thing was, and now they're like, nope. Now it was Martha Kent was the one who didn't want him to do nothing, and Jonathan Kent was always go fight for truth, justice, and equality, just like in the old serial. Because with great power comes great responsibility, says Jonathan Kent.
Probably somewhere in an alternate universe.
No, that actually is true. In the original serial, when Jonathan Kent gets saved by Superboy from a tornado, Jonathan Kent says, "Oh, my son, you have great power, and with that comes great responsibility with your powers." And in the original serials, go look it up on YouTube. It's great. It's actually really look up Jonathan Kent with great power comes great responsibility, and that's actually long before Uncle Ben, or actually long before Stan Lee actually said it. Jonathan Kent said it, but not in the current Zack Snyder universe, except now I guess apparently it. It's very cyclical or circular or something.
Hey, can we get to the emails since we actually got 2 of them this time?
Yeah, let's
to the emails.
All right. Well, the first one is from Jack, one of my coworkers, but he said, "Hey guys, thought I'd drop you a note about BVS that I just saw. He saw it last night. Again, I'll use bullet points. 1, I went in expecting the absolute worst, and it was not the absolute worst. It was entertaining, well put together, and plotted. 2, I'm going to make a drug analogy here. Forgive me if it upsets you. Batman is the heroin, the Superman's cocaine. One's a downer, the other an upper. It's obvious from the moment they step on screen to the point of being heavy-handed while trying to make the point. Whether you like to mix your drugs or not may determine if you will enjoy this film. Next point. Overwrought with symbolism and product placement. Nazis, Atlas Shrugged, Oil of Olay. Yikes.
Did you not see the original Superman?
Yeah, I know. Next one. I spent the entire time hoping Superman would get his butt kicked, and he did. Twice. In front of some hot chicks, too. Then I started feeling sorry for him. Poor Soups. The bat jet plane thingy was my favorite gadget. The design was reminiscent of the White Star from Babylon 5. Pay special attention to the sound effects. They're amazing. There was a Suicide Squad trailer after the credits. Don't know if that was in my theater or in all of them. I think it was just his because it wasn't in mine. Shout out to Paul, Penn Hill Cinema.
Yeah, it was before.
Yeah, it was before on mine too. All right, the cameos of the other Justice Leaguers were fun but unnecessary. And his last point, which is my favorite, Wonder Woman was like an ice cream sandwich on a hot summer day. Delicious, refreshing, and you always want more. Hope that you enjoy the movie. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, this film needed more. I liked about it though. Wonder Woman was allowed to be the pure, straight up hero fighting on mankind's behalf solely because she wanted to, not to prove a point to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I've said if they were smart, they would have made this Wonder Woman film that sounds great that they're doing right now first, and let that lead into the superheroic DC universe, rather than it's like they're trying to reverse engineer something and doing it poorly.
You can't hinge all your hopes on a woman, Charlie. What's wrong with you?
This is the 21st century. It's 2016. You could actually... I mean, I understand you're being facetious, but I gotta imagine that people in Hollywood...
No, they still think like that. Believe me, as a person who used to be in PR, they still literally think like that.
Yeah. I do understand you are right. I'm just saying they are wrong.
I agree, sir.
Yeah, but it's like... And you know what I would have loved to have seen rather than this film? If you have to have a man as our central film, I would rather see a Batman film in which Superman is a concern in the background than a Batman versus Superman film. Because this is very much a Batman film. This is Zack Snyder's Batman film. And it kind of felt like he wanted to make a Batman film, and then they said, well, you do Superman, so you got to put Superman in there. And says, okay, can I kill off Superman? Oh, by the way, spoilers. And and they said yes. Although now we know why they released the film at Easter.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, and
what?
I was.
I said, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was watching that. I'm thinking, oh, they're not actually going to have Death of Superman already. We just started this series. You can't go to Death of Superman already. That would be bad for a series. I mean, wouldn't it? And it really, I don't know, because nothing. Like, should there really be this much outpouring for Superman when he's only been around for 2 years? I mean, it's been 18 months since Metropolis. Superman kind of first bursts onto the scene at that time, correct? It's not like he's had years of saving the world and saving, thwarting nuclear annihilations and various things prior to this. It's just, like for the last 2 years, there's been this being called Superman who first destroys the city, but we all love him. Well, I don't know. And now we're standing. Although everyone knows, of course, obviously he's coming back, and they even like gave you that, like, oh yeah, here's the dirt starting to levitate on his coffin in the very last scene, because they couldn't just leave it like that. They couldn't actually be like kind of bold and just like throw the dirt on top of Kent's coffin and have everyone walk away. No, it's like before the dirt's even there, we got to show that something's happening. And granted, we all knew that was going to happen, but it's like, I don't know. It just felt like it's too soon to do Death of Superman. Obviously, they've already done it, but now it just felt it was too soon. It was just one more thing to add into this already loaded film. And it's like, can't you guys just tell a story? Can't you just tell a simple story about gods and men and heroes and villains and, becoming something greater? Does it have to be everything? It's like, if they wanted to tell a story that was everything, why not just start with Justice League and start a universe that Batman exists and Superman exists and Wonder Woman exists and all these characters exist in this universe, and now we're going to tell the story of the world that they have to exist in. It's like they wanted it both ways. They wanted to have a getting the band together film, but they also wanted to have everything already in place. And it just seems like that was it just. I mean, the film made its money back, I'm sure. It had a very good week. The second showing was sold out. The one I went to was well packed. I went to the first matinee today, and so the film's doing well. And actually, I honestly think that it's benefited from all the bad reviews at this point, because I think that
30% on Rotten Tomatoes, like, jeez, I can't believe it.
But now what's happening is everyone's saying, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty fun." Because it is. It's not that bad, and it's actually pretty fun. I mean, here's what it is. If it had kind of middle of the road reviews, I think people would have gotten soft on it. And I think that softness would have shown through, because it got such awful reviews, really undeserved reviews. I think you get this counter backlash now of people both defending it and saying, hey, it's worth it. And I kind of feel like they really did a lot of kind of, it's like talking up how violent it was. This was not a violent film. It was not violent really at all. Much less than most superhero films, I think. I mean, it's it's a creepier kind of violence, perhaps, with the whole branding of people. But overall, it was just kind of it was a standard two guys fighting kind of thing. It was just always just fighting. It wasn't like it wasn't excessively violent in my mind watching it. I think that if there isn't already cut, I just think it's just because we get to see Amy Adams' nipples at some point, because they got real dang close with that bathtub scene for some reason. Yeah, I'm sitting there with her in the bathtub. It's like, okay, people just have conversations in bathtubs now, and it's like there's no even a shower curtain on the bathtub. It's not a shower. I don't know. It just, but it's like I kind of feel like they kind of, I don't know what their marketing was, but I kind of get the feeling that they wanted to play up certain ideas, and then it led to these negative reviews, which I think maybe even was part of their intention, to get people to make these bad reviews so that they'd get some kind of positive backlash. I don't know, because someone else said the film wasn't as horrible as all the reviews I read. The reviews I read was like, it wasn't a slog. It actually moved fairly quickly. It wasn't really going anywhere. It was maybe a little meandering and kind of focused on things that didn't need to be focused on a lot.
Lois Lane. Sorry, had a little tickle in the throat.
Yeah, and what's up with Superman? It's like, okay, the photographer who gets shot, that's not Superman's business. Everyone else getting shot, that's not Superman's business. Lois Lane, here I am! Because it's not like, oh, he was over in New York and he heard the shots fired. No, he had to be hovering around nearby.
Yeah, the credits, they said it's Jimmy Olsen, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the credits, and if Snyder talked, the whole Africa scene was more heavily cut and edited because the movie was too long. And that's what we're going to see a little bit more of in the 3-hour cut.
Wait. Are you telling me that they just murdered Jimmy Olsen in the first scene?
Because he's not
didn't see a body.
Like the one on Supergirl. They're going to retcon it.
Hey, wait, we didn't see a body. What's the biggest rule in superheroes? You got to see a body.
Well, we saw Superman's body, and we know he's coming back anyway. But and he got the full Coulson too. But no, so to to that end, then okay, so Jimmy Olsen doesn't warrant Superman's concern. Isn't that his best pal, Jimmy Olsen?
Pal, right?
I guess not in this universe. Oh, now I kind of think it's kind of good that they killed off Superman. I'm kind of thinking that maybe that was like Zack said, because they didn't like my first. I'm just going to kill Superman. I'm not going to bring him back. I don't know. Maybe that's his plan. Maybe in the next one we get Supergirl. I don't know.
Well, there was that birthing matrix. She is kind of technically canon. Just saying. Oh, but Tyler, let me ask you this: when they called him basically a clown, how did you feel about that?
When I
thought that
Superman
was a meta moment. How Zach feels about the character of Superman, personally.
I was like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on in this film.
The treatment of Superman in these movies it's just not palatable to me. I'm sorry.
Well, my thing is, what I told Chris was, I think they did rush the death, and I'm like, okay, but we never got a Superman movie. We have Man of Steel, which is the Batman Begins equivalent for Superman. Then we jump into this. Like, that whole 2 year would have been more of like the Superman story. And then we get this, and then supposedly he's dead. We never really got to experience Superman.
Yeah.
Like, because think about a lot of his scenes were all these montages of him saving people and doing stuff, which were great, but we didn't get to actually see him do a whole lot to really, see the division between people who love him and the people who are hating on him.
Yeah. And you're completely right in that. And I guess that's sort of why it kind of struck me as weird that we got to Death of Superman already. Because, like you said, he's been there that whole time, and he has been saving the world and doing great things. So Batman's sitting around, driving around his car, beating up poor people.
Well, my thing was, I feel like there's no dialogue for this, and there's really no support. But I feel like maybe after the death of Robin, Batman retired. And then when Superman appeared and stuff, it kind of started to bring him back. And that way, because my thing is, Clark's talking about the Bat Vigilante, all of a sudden, nobody's doing anything. Well, that should have been something that's been in the news for years that no one's really, talking about. Like, there could have been a line of, that's old news, or, he's been around. They were kind of acting like it was something new. So that's why I was kind of thinking maybe he's come out of retirement.
Yeah, well, actually, Perry White did kind of say that when he says, crime spree in Gotham. In a related story, water's wet, that. And I'll say this much, man, you could not pick a better city than Detroit to play Gotham. You talk about a city that has been forgotten about, that is just, so ill-treated.
Here's my thing.
That would be, yeah.
Detroit needs to rename itself Gotham and just tweak the city to be one giant tourist thing for people to come to Batman's home city.
They
just need to live it up. Every Batman movie's filmed there.
Yeah. No, they actually are doing that. They haven't renamed it Gotham, but the Tourism Board of Detroit has a whole app where you can come in and find all the locations in Gotham that they shot at. And yes, no, they are playing up the Gotham Batman connection. And Zack Snyder has said when he gets to do his Batman film, which is what he wants to do next. I get the feeling that he's always wanted to do Batman films, but that they made him do a Superman. So like how, seems like DC will do that, where they'll start one thing and they'll say, we'll just switch the hero out. And who's going to care if you just switch a hero out? They're basically replaceable, right? That's why we can have Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern instead of Flash. Anyway. But so he's going to go back to Detroit to shoot that. He really said that he doesn't want to recast the city. That was, and I get that, because honestly, Detroit, it is. I'm a little biased because I did go to Wayne State University for a while, and I grew up in Canton, Michigan, 30 minutes outside of Detroit. And studied at Detroit Second City when I did my improv back in my youth. I love Detroit, and it does have just this amazing architecture. And it is just such a beautiful city in a state of decay. You could not pick a better place to shoot for Gotham than Detroit. But and for me, man, that's like the best part of this film is seeing Detroit. even if they really play it poorly. You know what? I kind of felt like this film was sort of like Crack's version of Batman v Superman. There's like all of the tropes that Cracked hammers in on about Batman and Superman just kind of gets called out here, like the fact that that Batman is mostly targeting these poor people and impoverished people to take out his weird vengeances on. I kind of felt like they're kind of hitting in all these major tropes of these characters, which again I think maybe is kind of works counter to what I think makes DC a really great brand, which is I think that DC's brand works best when it is not of the real world, when it is kind of above things and is this sort of a more archetypical modern day gods kind of concept, rather than dragging it into, and in the real world, this is how we would have to approach a guy like Batman. He's got to be psychotic. He's got to be a masochist. He's got to be, driven by by a basic unhinged philosophy, which again goes into this, the fist at the very beginning from his father, and what he says later, where he says the Waynes were hunters, which actually means the Waynes, slaughtered a bunch of Indians and killed a bunch of animals to make their fortune. If you really want to go into it, what he was kind of saying there when he's talking about the first generation of Waynes who wants to bill them as rugged frontiersmen when they were genocidal murderers. But hey, history's written by the winners. Yeah, John Skippy. Yeah, well, but of course Zack Snyder wants to do the Fountainhead because he's all in Diane Rand, and the world belongs to those with the strength to take it. So that is your Bruce Wayne.
Hey,
the Ubermensch.
Hey, I got another email. This one from Crystal, who does Gotham Gossip with Lilith. I don't know. By the end of this email, you might not be saying that well.
No, I know. She hates Wonder Woman and doesn't like Superman. I know. Believe me. She hurts me.
Yeah.
I'm going to straighten her out. Don't worry.
Okay. She says, hey, guys. So, welcome to Batman featuring Superman with a cameo from Wonder Woman. The movie was great from my point of view. I am not a diehard comic fan. I dabble, but mostly keep to the cinema universes and television shows. I feel like it could have been 2 movies. The last half hour could have been its own movie in its entirety. The only thing I didn't like was the last 15 minutes. We all know Superman isn't about to die. I mean, really. Did we really have to go through these funerals of fake crocodile tears because you know he's still alive? Character breakdowns. Batman, my favorite. Sorry, not sorry, Soups. Ben Affleck did a supreme job in this role. I love it. I've been saying from the beginning he would wear the cowl well. Did he not? He was kind of terrifying. Love that he brands his victims. Makes him badass. Superman. Henry did a great job as Soups. I did like Man of Steel more than any of the other Supermans. Sorry, Reeves. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but Henry makes me actually like him. Lois Lane. What is your role in this movie? You were a badass chica in Man of Steel, but now you're playing a damsel in distress, which is annoying. That's all I have to say here. All right, Lilith, make sure you're sitting down. Wonder Woman. So much disappointment here. Look, I know I'm not Wonder Woman's biggest fan, but could they have casted a worse actress to play her? She does not look like Wonder Woman. Sorry, but she was not making me think Wonder Woman looking at her. She got thrown around like a rag doll, and she was lacking those amazing thighs everyone raves about. Anyway, my 2 cents. Overall, really enjoyed the movie. Would definitely see it again. Lilith?
Y'all know I'm not the biggest Gal Gadot fan. Like, I gotta work with what I got. I think the actress is a perfectly lovely actress. She's been handling the pressure of being Wonder Woman, a 5'8" Wonder Woman, by the way, not 5'10", just saying. Not even 5'10". It bugs me, but we got what we got, and I think she did okay with the material that they gave her. And from what I've seen of the Wonder Woman movie, it looks even better, and the supporting cast is great. The costuming is amazing. I kind of don't appreciate the World War I thing. I would prefer World War II, but it looks good so far.
Yeah. But I think they went with.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, Tyler, what did you think that she likes Henry Cavill better than Christopher Reeve?
Well, here's my thing. I think Reeves is perfect, but you can't take a Reeves Superman now and bring him into the fold. Like, it doesn't work. I like Henry a lot. I like him more and more. Like I said, the more I've watched the film, little things that he does that I think he's probably the second. I mean, if we're going cinematic, of course he's the second best Superman. But just overall, I think he's really getting to form the character to our day and age. But like I said, we haven't got a Superman movie. We haven't got really the chance for him to be Superman a lot. Because Man of Steel is all about him creating Superman, about coming into his own. And now this one, he's more in his own, but he's being torn down. So he's starting to forget who he is. And
the bad news is you're not going to get one now.
Yeah. Was that a sign of our cynical times that, this, Batman is way more popular than Superman? And
yes, that's been the whole debate and argument. And that's why, I can see where people wouldn't like Christopher Reeve, because he is, in a sense, a forgotten error of, the ideology that we can't buy anymore. We don't believe that someone could be like that. I mean, even if you want to go into Marvel, the reason Cap works is because he's from the 40s and he wakes up in our time still as that same person. We're not trying to say that this person exists in this time period. He was from that time that came here now, and we can accept that. But someone who supposedly grew up now and is coming out as Superman with that kind of style and ideology, we are, like you said, cynical that we can't believe that person would actually exist. Like, one of the lines was, maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing. And people have a hard time believing that there are people who would actually just do the right thing because.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and maybe this is, again, did Zack Snyder write this film? And does Zack Snyder hate Superman?
Hold on. I'm going to say something real quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that everything that I like in this movie, writing-wise, is probably because of Chris Terrio. Yeah. And the stuff that doesn't work, that I don't like, is probably stuff they had to leave in from Goyer's original script. Just based on what Man of Steel was, and that's a Goyer-written solo film, and then looking at Argo, which is a Chris Terrio film, and then watching this, I really believe that what I like in this film is Chris Terrio stuff.
Yeah. Well, because I did notice when I'm listening to this, when I was watching this, that there was a lot of direct shout-outs to kind of say, man, you don't belong here. You're this, where they say it's not 1938 anymore. Apples don't cost a nickel. The Works Progress Administration isn't going to, give you a job. That world is gone, and essentially saying that Superman belonged to that world, which of course to me doesn't make any sense. The whole point of a character like Superman is that he does belong in every world, because every world, here's what I'll say. To me, what you should have in a Batman Superman film is Superman bringing Batman to be a better Batman. Because Superman is the icon. Superman is the good man, who has absolute power, but isn't going to use it poorly, not because because he just doesn't see a reason to. He doesn't see he is better than us. He isn't bogged down by our petty angers and fears and need for revenge. When you think about the idea of Clark Kent, the very idea of Clark Kent is that Superman is going to, even though he is better, stronger, faster than everyone, he would much rather be just Clark Kent. He would much rather be a person who's just a guy getting through his life every day and just being an honest and forthright guy than be king of the world. Because being king of the world isn't attractive to him, because he's not a petty venial man who wants to be king of the world. Lex Luthor wants to be king of the world because he's a petty venial man. Superman could be king of the world tomorrow, but why? Why would Superman want to do that? He's better than that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He has power and understands that with power comes responsibility. we were discussing Iron Fist not too long ago, and this idea that Iron Fist, that one of the most interesting things about Iron Fist as a character is he's this guy who has this amazing wish fulfillment. He's an orphan, then he finds a billionaire, and he's also the world's greatest kung fu fighter. But he's still just very zen about everything. He's still very calm and centered because that's what's important. He knows, yes, he's been given everything in life, but okay, that's good, but that's not what's important. It's not important that he has money. It's not important that he is the world's greatest kung fu fighter. What's important is that he wants to have inner peace, because inner peace is happiness. And, and that's what Superman is. Superman is this guy who has everything and wants nothing. And because he wants nothing, we don't trust him because we say, well, if we had those kind of powers, we would be villains. We would say, fools, we'll show them all. And we see that with everyone who comes from Krypton. It's like, now I have power, and fools, I'll show you all. But Superman, because of whatever, he is better than that. He grew up in a world where he was always Superman. And it's not about him having to hide. It's about him choosing to be Clark Kent, because Clark Kent is a better person to be than Superman. Because Superman is something that is, when he says, Superman doesn't exist, there's some truth to that. Because not in the way that they're saying it, but it's just that this idea that that being that Superman isn't what's important. What's important is being Clark Kent, being with Lois Lane, having a life. And yes, because I have powers, I'm going to do good with them whenever I can. Because if you had power and you didn't do good, wouldn't that just make you an awful, awful human being? And that's the aspect. I'm not an awful human being. It's like I can do good things, so I'm going to do them because I'm not an awful human being.
Yeah. All right.
There shouldn't be that much weight and worry about it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just gonna say we're over an hour already, so let's wrap this up. Tyler and Chris as our guests. Final thoughts from you guys?
Yeah. Final thoughts. Just see it for yourself and check out our second part review for Krypton Report, because G and I were working on doing after our immediate reaction review we did. We're doing a little bit now that we've seen it multiple times, what's different, what thoughts are, and that, because my final thoughts, we could be here another hour. So
my thought, it's worth a watch. It is a fun movie, despite everything else. It will always be a fun movie. If you're looking for something that is lighthearted and a comedy, you won't find it. But if you're looking for something that's got a lot of great action and also a good representation of some solid superheroes people love, it's a good place to start.
It's not the movie we needed, and it's not the movie we deserved, but it's still pretty decent. It doesn't deserve 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's an average movie that was just a little bit too long and a little unnecessary corporate meddling. Well, a lot.
Okay. Charlie?
I think I've said enough. No. Yeah, but... like I said, it was better than Fantastic Four, and from now on, I think that's what you have. No, because I think that's an important thing to have, is having that statement that, don't tell me that Iron Man 2 is the worst film ever made. Don't tell me that Thor 2 was the worst film ever made. Don't tell me that this was the worst film ever made, or X-Men whatever was the worst film ever made, or Wolverine Origins. It's like, no, the worst superhero movie was Fantastic Four. We have our base, okay.
I'm still saying Steel from '97.
What? You don't like Shaquille?
and Catwoman. Okay,
Yeah,
Fantastic Four is the biggest.
Catwoman is not a superhero film, by the way.
Fantastic Four is just the biggest disappointment because we had high hopes for it and promise. But Steel is just bad.
I've not seen Steel. I have got to believe that Shaquille O'Neal, for simple camp value, is going to be better than Fantastic Four. That Fantastic Four was not so bad it was good. It was just bad. It was wrong. It was an affront
the
to
funny
humanity.
part was he wasn't trying to be campy at the time.
Yeah. But it's Shaq, so it's, it doesn't matter if you want to be camp. If you are camp, you can still be enjoyable.
Yeah. I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, it was there was just a few things. Like I said, the Eisenberg Lex Luthor didn't do it for me, and just a few little things. But overall, I enjoyed it. I think Affleck is my Batman now. I was impressed with his Batman.
Yeah, I just wish they would have explained how Matt Murdock got his sight back. I mean,
oh, come on. Always gonna be the Marvel guy.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's good. No, it was actually I actually didn't mind his Daredevil either, but I thought he was very good as Batman. He was very good as Batman.
Yeah.
A psychotic
all right.
man was good at that.
All right. Before we get out of here, does everyone want to give their social media? Tyler.
Sorry, I was throwing something away. You can find me online at JTYPatrick. That's pretty much it. I mean, Facebook, emails, Yahoo, Gmail, Twitter, all the same thing.
And you could hit me up at NotTinyDancer86.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lilith?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you're on Reddit, just check the DC TV subs, and you'll see me making snarky comments. Lilith Hellfire hit my inbox. And, of course, you can check me out on Queen Consolidated, Flashpoint, World's Finest, Newcastle Crew, and Channel 52, all available right here on Southgate Media Group Network of podcasts.
And, of course, you can always tweet along with me at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. And write to me if you'd like to at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com.
And as for me, you could always discuss anything Marvel or DC with me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And check out southgatemediagroup.com for the many podcasts I do with all of these wonderful people you heard tonight. And come back. Our next Marvel DC crossover is probably going to be Captain America 3 Civil War. So, like I said, come back, check us all out. I think
the trailer was fantastic.
On the ruse.
But honestly, I could have just stared at Chris's butt all day. Either one.
All right. And on that note, I think we're done for the night. Thank you, everyone. Like I said, join us next time. Good night.